What careers are these kids going for? Like when they take your class, you're preparing them for what job?
Mostly corporate, mostly a finance job within a corporation, not
Just
necessarily.
what we need in this country.
Well, not necessarily, to go into the investment industry, and that's kind of the nature of Indiana. Indiana's very much of a manufacturing area.
Yep.
The same students when I was in Loyola in Chicago, they were all going to go into investment or banking type jobs. But down here, because it's more, again, manufacturing and not so much, finance from the investment end. They're generally going into the corporate finance departments at really big companies.
Well, the world is becoming more and more corporate. When I say the world, I mean the United States, right?
Yeah.
I would be shocked if you said these students are going to go into small businesses and start their own companies. I would just generally be shocked because. Go ahead, please.
No. I had one because I that's something that I do. I teach here at IU, but I also have a couple of outside consulting clients that are big financial firms. And they'll ask me, well, how did you, how could I do that? Because they see the independence and I guess they think it looks kind of cool. And I said, well, the only reason that those entities are working with me is because I've got, 30 years experience and I'm a known quantity to them. So it's not as easy as it looks, but yeah, there's still an entrepreneurial spirit out there. There is.
It's always going to be, right? Myself.
Yeah,
but here's the difference, I think. This could be a generational thing. Young people, and this is a good and a bad thing, are entrepreneurial out of necessity, right? Yeah. I can go from personal experience, right? I work a great job, 40 hours a week, pays me well. I have health insurance. It's expensive, but I got it. I got retirement. I got it. 40 years ago, even 30, 20 years ago, that would be enough to buy a house, have a kids, and retire young. Yeah. We're not retire young, but retire at a decent age. And you'd be there your whole career. That's just not in the cards for young people anymore, which is a big reason I have this podcast, Entrepreneurial Spirit. Yeah. If I want a wife and kids and to get married and buy a house, I can't just rely on that one job. I need to have a podcast and try and make money this way and ask for donations when I hate asking for donations and stuff like that. So I shouldn't be surprised that there is an entrepreneurial spirit learning a business class to learn about business. I wish I took one in college. I didn't take any business classes, probably because they were hard. So do you see that a lot, the younger generation, and do they complain about that a lot? Like how much do your younger students complain about the world and the finances and how the student debt and all that works?
I don't hear much gripe. They haven't. I don't think the debt thing has hit them in the face yet. And there's probably this glimmer.
Ignorance is bliss.
And there's probably this glimmer in the back of their mind that it's something they're not going to have to deal with because it's going to get canceled. Which I don't. It's not. No. Yeah, I know.
We can have that conversation, but it's not.
It's a great talking point, but no, it's not. No, and they're getting jobs. Again, they're not, the investment industry is one that has been, experiencing some cuts. Tech has been experiencing some cuts, but, not, core manufacturing. And if anything, I'm stealing this number from one of the other professors, and he used this one at a presentation, but said Indiana is the only state in the U.S. that has more manufacturing employees than government employees.
Wow.
And I know. That just tells you that. And the point behind that is we're seeing manufacturing coming back or trying to bring it back and bring more supply chain stuff coming back. So, the middle of the country is actually doing very well. You wouldn't think that by looking at the Wall Street Journal, but I think the middle of the country is doing. It seems like we're doing pretty well.
Well, that's where the jobs are going to be. Right.
Yeah.
To Biden's credit, after COVID, he does want to bring jobs back, whereas previously it was just easier to ship them overseas because it's just cheaper labor and there's no laws over there compared to what we have over here. But we do need those jobs back, and the infrastructure is still there in Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, that Midwest part of the country. So yeah, it makes sense the jobs are going to be there, and at least for now, it's still relatively affordable.
Yeah. So what kind of back to your question, you were asking, what do they gripe about? they're not griping about jobs. They're really not.
Well, that's good because you
Yeah.
know what? They're in the right industry, right? I hung out with a lot of, I hung out with a few business people too, but people where it's just like, okay, college wasn't necessary here. Like I love having this conversation with people, especially in teaching in college professions or what have you, this education. Do you need to go to college? As I've said this before on this podcast plenty of times, as a journalism major, no. I would have learned way more in the newsroom at 18 than I did in the classroom at 20. Right? Yeah. My job, live stream producer, I didn't learn that in college. Zero. I learned it on the job. But also podcasting my own personal adventures was a big reason I stuck out. Now, your profession, business, that's where the jobs are. That's where the needs are. You know, this country is run on Wall Street. So that makes sense that they wouldn't be so worried because they're smart and went to a job that they actually need college for.